until you rise and shine up and at 'em. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock hour. You are officially still tuned in to Coffee and Conversation with Collette on this Friday edition with Speak Rock in the building. And we've taken a little we're in the Virgin Islands studios, everyone. So I feel like, aren't they amazing? So they're accommodating my Miami-ish look.
Your attire.
Right, since I couldn't be in my yayo, then I got the conversation so that, okay, right, give me some direction time. Okay. So I was able to get into a space where I feel like I'm a little tropical. So before the break, and I think all of this delves into the importance of relationships. Just truthfully who we are, what our truths are. And before I get King back on the line and all the other calls, I see our lines are lit. We have another hour segment on today. So don't worry, we're going to get everyone. But we have a special guest, Rock, that is sharing in the conversation with us this morning. So would you please do us the honors in introducing our special guest?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Collette, for once again being generous with your platform, allowing myself to come on. And I brought a special guest with me. He's a good friend of mine, a brother of mine, a brother in arms, brother in spiritually, and he's doing great things.
Okay.
He's doing great things, and he's going to have to come on for another segment because what he's full of knowledge, full of wisdom. He's a guy cut after the same cloth as me.
Okay.
So there are other people out here.
Well, the two that are in the building,
but look,
and Tim, and Mr. Tyler.
That's it.
I got about good five. RJ, Sean, 6.
Good five.
Okay, I could write.
All right. This brother name is Damian Butler. Okay, Damian Butler. He has a mentoring program called the Manifest One, and it's a mentoring program that is ideally geared towards young black men and teaching them the finer points in leadership.
Okay.
But yet, nevertheless, he still opens up and he gives that knowledge even to to everyone.
Sure.
Be it adults, be it youth, or whatever the case may be. And so I'm going to let him tell you more about it. It's a wonderful program. I'm talking about leadership tip because he's an avid reader.
Yeah.
Okay. And he just soaks and gains knowledge. And just like a sponge, when you soak all that up, he squeezes himself and just lets all that knowledge rain down on those that he's giving it to. So once again, Damian Butler, go ahead and take the mic, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Great morning. That was
that's you.
That was one of the best introductions I've ever had.
I could have kept going, but I just want to respect the time because you're a lot more.
And we're gonna take that on the road.
Nice,
I like
nice.
that. I appreciate you both. Colette, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Rock, thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here and listen to the conversation that's going on because one of the things I'm picking up from what you all are talking about is just our ability to relate to each other. We're not taught that. I mean, when have we ever been taught to relate to somebody else? It's always about me being number one and you being whatever else comes after. And it may not be number two, but I got to be number one. Yeah. And we don't know how to coexist in a space. And that's part of the problem that we have as a culture, as business owners, as teachers, as parents, as, young black people in love.
Nice.
The relationship is huge. And that's something that we focus on at Manifest One Empowerment Group.
Okay.
Because it's about creating an opportunity for you to set your goals and, personal, professional, educational, but also create opportunities for you to serve others.
Nice.
So that person that you deal with can help go to the next level. And we focus on one at a time. Everybody wants billions. Everybody wants billions, but make that first dollar.
Okay.
Build that first relationship.
Yeah.
Have that first, and then once you do it once, you do it again. And once you do it again, anybody can be, a success one time. You're successful when you do it over and over again.
Nice.
So once we learn how to build those relationships, you can teach others.
Sure. Well, I have to ask you that. My mother always says this to me all the time. She's like, you're the most selfless person I've ever met. What if you're not taught to be selfish? And maybe not even to your point that it's defined as selfish, but to put yourself first. I was never taught to put myself first. I mean, that just wasn't.
That's the first. And that's where the challenge comes in, because if you're not taking care of you, you can't take care of anybody else. But, I just, talked on my podcast that, this thin line between selfishness and self-care. But you can't serve from an empty dish. So if you don't read, if you don't develop, if you don't know what you're supposed to do for yourself, you can't help somebody else. So,
and you know what? Maybe let me correct myself.
Okay.
That I never looked at my structure as independent, if that makes sense. So my family, my mother, my brother, my dad, myself, that was always me.
Right.
So that self-care thing was, if you're not good, I'm not good. If I can't help make sure the family thrives, then, so it was never Collette as a solo. It was mom, dad, brother. That was Collette. So maybe that's a different perspective.
Yeah, it is a different perspective, but it's the two things that we're talking about here are both needed because I believe in any one thing can be, it can be perverted, or we can be operating out of timing.
Okay.
So say for instance, if you're constantly taking care of yourself, you know, and you don't know the timing in which to take care of someone else, you know what I'm saying? That's a bad thing. Or if you're constantly taking care of others so you can be well, but your timing, you don't know how to take care of yourself because the other people don't know when to reciprocate on what you're giving. Sure. That's a bad thing. So because what did I say to you when we communicated? I think it was Friday.
Sure.
The day before you were going out to do your charity give back.
Yes.
The last thing I said to you was, I said, Collette, I'm going to pray for you. And I said, I want you to take care of yourself.
Yes.
I said a couple of things. I said, I want you to eat.
Yes.
I said, I want you to, take care of yourself.
Yes.
I said, because you can only be as good for other people as you are for yourself. Yes. Because I know her spirit of, I'm going to give, I'm going to give, I'm going to take care, I'm going to take care. But you got that balance was, letting her know, take care of you, get something to eat, get something to drink, get
I
your
was
rest.
like, yes, Rock. And actually, let me add that. You actually have done it the last 2 times.
Okay.
And so I said, well, clearly Rock, he's in tune with me. He's like a brother. Like, yeah, you just become my brother. And so I was like, okay, Rock is in tune with me. So he figures that I'm doing a lot. And I guess whatever the energy that she felt, he's like, okay, Collette, you need to. And I get that. Like, I get that. I just want us to, and I'm going to get to the line. All the lines are lit to everyone. We see you. But I think it picks back up on who we are, like who we're supposed to be. I don't know what it's like to be a black man in America.
Okay.
Never. I know what it was like. My brother, I saw my dad. So I always took the position that my job is to create a balance. I mean, maybe that was probably what was put on me in my family. Like, I remember I was 10 years old and my dad had my brother, and stressed out. My brother's trying to be there. He's trying to raise a son, and he would call, and my mother would put me on the phone to calm him down. And we'd have these conversations, and I'd calm him down, and it was great. And then midnight, I'd go back to sleep, and everything was well. And I never realized it as a child, what I was really doing and the role that I was given in the family. And so as an adult, no one's going to fight harder for mine than me. Like, when everything was going through with my dad and this disability in the city of Detroit and all of this stuff and all the attorneys, oh, no, it will never happen. I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Right.
And so, retroactive 32 years, it was cut. Here's the check. No attorneys, no nothing. Collette, we don't understand how you did it. Well, God and me, that's mine. Like, you're not going to, that's what we talk about, the importance of knowledge. We talk about the importance of understanding what the family unit looks like. Excuse me. And then 43 years later, my parents are back together. They've been at 43 years. It took me 20 years to get them together, but they've been separated since I was 2. So now they've been married 2 years in. Hey, you guys.
Right.
Because it's family.
Right.
So I'm going to fight for that for the rest of my life.
Right.
And I just want us to really get what it looks like if we work together. And so I want black men, like, wherever you are, if there's a woman in your life, the truth is all we really want to do, and you all might not like the way I'm going to say this, is to serve you. Some people might take offense to that word, but we are our best when we know that you're good. We're nurturers by trade. We want to just get in where we fit in and make it easier for you. But it just seems like there's this competitive thing, whatever the world is doing to you, and then you feel that you need to compete with me. And and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, or maybe those are just the conversations that I've gotten with men.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, dude, we're on the same side. Like, when you come behind in this door in this house, I'm on your side. You don't have to show that you're smarter than me. You don't have to show that you have read books, and you don't have to impress me. You don't have to be any of those things.
Right.
Clearly, if I didn't see that in you, we wouldn't be in the space that we're in.
Yeah.
So, but I'm good enough when you need a business plan. I'm good enough when you need an idea. I'm good enough when you need to understand politics. I'm good enough. I can do all those things when you deem me to have the knowledge and the shine and the light. Then I'm good enough then. But until then, I'm just supposed to sit there to placate your ego. Stop, you guys. Stop. I mean, help me. I don't understand.
We
You
don't,
want to go
we
to
don't
the
know how to
line?
build relationships.
Damian.
And we don't know that balance that you want to create.
Right.
Yeah.
We both have to come, with our weight to create that balance, but we're always taught. It's to say we were taught. It's always about winning and being on top, and we have to create a space to build those relationships, and that's the key to success. You got to be able to communicate, you got to build a relationship, and you got to be accountable. And those three things are not taught; they're just talked about. And that's
now, Damian,
that's
let me jump in there for a minute, because the last brother who called, I asked him the question of, how do we implement this then? How do we teach this?
Yes.
And you said it a number of times. We're not taught. We're not taught. Now, you being an individual that has a platform, dealing with engineers, you have the Manifest One, you're reaching out to young people, you're teaching young black men the finer aspects of leadership. So my question, being that you operate in that arena, my question to you is, how do we teach young black men the value of a black girl and a black woman? And what I mean, so I'm asking is, how soon do we start this process? Because it seems to me one of the most damaging things that takes place in any organization, and I'll use, for example, the church, is that a lot of times the church isn't progressive or proactive in addressing issues. Some issues we will address, some issues we'll stay away from,
Yes.
like homosexuality.
Yes.
We'll criticize it, but we won't, with intelligence and with
Yes.
scripture. I can't say, I'm not saying everybody, so please don't call here and get all sensitive.
And get us,
But
right.
for the majority,
Sure.
we all can have said we've been to a church where the subject has been lackluster and it's just been very vague in why I shouldn't. Okay, so my point is, so we can address every other issue when we're talking to young people, but when it comes to actual relationships,
Yeah.
so because it's kind of taboo that we won't say, well, this is how you treat a black woman. Not just your mother, but even in a relationship.
In a good way.
Right.
In a good way.
So
as long as she's a B and an H and she's twerking and she's this and
Right.
and that's who you see, and then right. So she's a disposable, what do they call it in the military? She's surplus labor.
Ooh.
So you can just say, okay, well, for whatever she's for, and then you're on her, and
Yeah.
then that's it. Huh?
So how do we do that, man?
It's about. I was talking to my wife yesterday about the cultures that we perpetrate,
Right.
and we were looking at. I can't remember what artist it was, but she's like, I don't understand why you have all this talent and this platform, but you got to get up on stage and start twerking and taking your clothes off. So well, that's what we perpetrate. We talk about rape culture, we talk
Yeah.
about strip club culture, we talk about misogyny, but we don't really do anything about it. And somebody has to be that person to break it down, and we have to start with basics. Somehow, and it goes back to the conversation we had off air about how they broke down the family, and the boy is now the man of the house at 13 years old. So if you're telling a boy at 13 he's a man of the house and his mother's a woman of the house, now we have a confused relationship. So does the mother now have a man and her son? And so now, but I'm the man. So I got to run this. And as a 13-year-old man, I don't know how to treat a 13-year-old girl.
Right.
And a 35-year-old woman, look, there's so many gaps in that, imagery of the man in the house. The father is off somewhere else, and the young man is beat down with the responsibilities that the father's supposed to have. So when the father comes in, he can't assert his role because I'm the man. I'm the man. So now we're fighting between a grown man and his son.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's so many pieces of why we're broken as a culture.
Yeah.
But the relationship is the key. And I mean, everybody in here is, is a Christian and believes that, we believe the word of God. God is the head, then the man, covers a family, protects a family, and the woman. So everybody has their role, but our roles have been convoluted and diluted and removed and deleted. And somewhere, we have to go back to basics, stick to a process, and let it work, one step at a time.
Let me get to the lines.
Yes.
And let me just add this before we go in. And we have to be realistic about how the culture in which we raise our children. They always talk about that women baby their sons and raise their daughters. And the truth of the matter is, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Women coddle their boys. It's everything. And then the daughter, oh yeah, she's running, doing everything. She's paying the bill. I mean, she's cooking the food. She's taking care of the house. And the boy is just sitting there. So then if that is the culture in which you grow him up into, then when he gets to be older, what is he going to expect a woman to do? He's going to expect the woman to take care of him. But I'm supposed to be the man. I'm supposed to make the decisions. But how does that work? But let me go to the line. I just had to add that in because I just had to add that in. King, I just will thank you for your patience. I want you to continue your thought before I go to the rest of the cause, please.
Okay. Queen, you made a good point. And that is, you asked the question about why women are so protected of the male.
Yes.
See, go back to the individuals that actually brought us to the shores here.
Okay.
They knew there was something that they were taught, that if they can put the woman in such a condition, as far as when it came to the male, because if the male rose up, the male was immediately executed or murdered or whatever.
Okay.
So you imagine, understand, that went on for hundreds and hundreds of years. The female looking at her sons,
Right.
and she had to basically raise him in a way that it would make him more docile or less than a man to the man. In other words, there's not going to be no two occupations. As long as, understand, it's like the scripture says, it talks about the children of Israel. The reason why it calls them children is because when in bondage, that superior race always kept them as children, totally dependent, asking for this and that. Like you say, we're constantly begging them for this and that.
Yes.
That's like children.
Yes.
As men and women, we would go and get it. Whatever we need, we would do it. But we are made like children, even though we're 50, 100 years old. In the eyesight of their society, we are children. That's why they continue to call us boys and gals or whatnot.
Right.
See, the psychological effect of that, and like what you're saying, in the beginning of life itself, sperm has no value unless it has an egg. When they become one, and that first one becomes a cell. The number one cell is the cell of God.
Okay.
That number one cell that's created in the womb of that woman is the cell of God.
Okay.
And that cell begins to call on what? Billions of other cells coming into what? Unity.
Okay.
All the cells coming in unity, calling in everything that they need, to produce, this body to go into the next world.
Okay.
And so when you look at us as a people, we are fractions. We ain't together.
Sure.
This one, all religions, jobs, we all divided up.
Yes.
We have everything that we need within us, but we are in fraction. And as Rock was saying, we can't love nobody until we love ourselves. And that's the bottom line. We don't love ourselves. This is why you find us putting poison up to our mouth, smoking it. You'll find us pouring liquor into our body, poisoning it. We are set up in such a way to commit suicide, and we don't even realize it.
Okay.
We daily we commit suicide, and we don't even realize we're committing suicide to our own self. To show you the hatred that we have for ourselves. Because if we loved ourselves, a lot of those things we wouldn't do. We would check everything that comes in us, comes around us, and we're not doing it.
All right,
we're not
Queen.
security-minded at all.
All right. We appreciate your call. Always.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank you
and
so much.
Rock, stay in there. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
You have a blessed weekend
All
as
right,
well.
brother.
So, he made some points. I don't know what, hey, and I see the other callers. We're going to get to you
I'm taking the
momentarily.
I'm taking that.
You're going to take it? Right.
that was
Go to have
good.
the security. That was good.
I'm taking that.
So, I mean, with that understanding, you all know symptoms versus issues. We always talk about that. So now we have an understanding. What do we do? What do we do? Do we keep saying, okay, yeah, because we know this is what it is. We know propaganda and how they create the marketing and the media and what's going to sell. And we know that there's a differentiation between entertainment and what real life is. But these people think that it's real. They think that what you see on Instagram is real. That this is real life. This is how I need to live my life. This is how I need to treat women. Everybody's going to be a B and an H, and I'm exerting myself. And if you make me mad, then I'm going to put my hands on you.
Right.
And then if you don't do what I say, or it's a culture that, okay, well, I'm going to secure the bag, quote unquote, the bag could be a baby.
Right.
So then that's what I'm going to do. And then we get mad because the relationship isn't there because,
Well,
I'm just throwing them out there.
I'm gonna take it a step further.
Okay.
And this is to add on to what we've been saying,
Okay.
because look, I was telling Damian that my epiphany is that I had to realize that I was enclosing myself too much, indirectly trying to compliment those that I'm around versus staying authentic, because my authenticity can be abrasive to the norm and the status quo. Okay.
Sure.
So with that being said, let's address the issue. My thing is, let's push the envelope. We condition and we raise our children in all other aspects for them to be great.
Right.
Being in a relationship shouldn't be any different.
Right.
So if we're saying that they don't know, it's because we're not teaching it. And once again, if it takes a village, now I would say this. So if it takes a village to raise a child, guess what? So if you have a mentoring program, I don't know. If you can't do it, invite me, invite Damian.
Sure,
Let's talk about this subject. And because being this year be 19 years for me of marriage. I got
Amen. Amen, wife. Amen. Good
so
morning, wife.
I got 3 daughters.
Yeah.
So I might know a little something.
Say
So
that.
with that being said, like, I had conversations with young men that came to my house. And watch this now. I was looked at by my own family. And I love them. I know they may, but I was doing the most. But guess what? And I told them this to your face. Me doing the most keeping you from getting pregnant. You not sliding down no pole. You not laid up in some hotel drugged out. You not being pimped out. And guess what? Me doing the most is needed.
Say it.
I'm in this household. Every young man that came to my house, he saw a man. Come on now.
With them boots at the door.
Yeah, with them boots at the door.
At the door.
I'll tell about when I do my work.
Yeah,
I
you put the
leave my
boots
boots at the door.
Yeah, leave the
so
boots at
anybody
the
with the
door.
mailman, with anybody
Boots
come
at the
deliver
door, baby.
the pizza man, they
Right.
looking like
Man at the house.
it's a man,
It's a man
here.
at the house.
Somebody doing some work.
But maybe you said, say that for a minute. You said that if we don't teach them, then they don't get that. But they see it. See, that's another point too.
No.
We might not have for all of us, we might not have a conversation about it, but a lot of times we still give examples.
But let me tell you about what they see, about what young people see. And I always have to go back, and this is just me being transparent.
Okay.
I have to go back and reteach or correct some things. So granted, I've been married for 19 years, and that's a blessing. But I'll be lying if I sat here and said that I've always been the consummate example at my very best.
Thank you for your truth.
No, my wife or I. So the point is, I have to double back to my children.
Yeah.
This what you saw, this what you heard is not.
It's you got to teach. It's a it's
Come
not
on,
just
man.
being there. Because 19 years, just like you, I have 2 daughters.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It'll be 19 years on Monday.
All right,
That's
wife.
it.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. So my wife has looked at me side-eyed quite a bit over the last 19 years. 19 years of marriage, 4 years before that, so it was 23 years.
Yeah.
So in 23 years, there have been times that my wife has looked at me like, why? Or what? And, my daughters, I mean, one's in college, one's in high school, so they have an opinion and they understand things are going on.
Right.
So there's times when they looked at me side-eyed but we've been able to talk about it
Yes.
and communicate and understand, look, I'm wrong, I made this mistake, but this is how I'm going about fixing it.
Yes.
And, you know, we have to go through that process. We can't throw the baby out the bathwater.
Right.
We have to understand it's a process and it takes some time.
Yes.
And that's the one thing that we need to give each other.
Right.
Time. Grace and mercy, you know, they follow me all the days of my life.
Come on.
But I got to be able to give grace and mercy because I know I'm not perfect. And there's times I look at my wife side-eyed, but I know that regardless of what as stupid as I may have been, I got to wait. And so I can either get smarter or she's going to forgive me again when I do it. You know, the future is patience and don't look for the ways out.
Right.
Look for ways to get stronger.
That's such a great point, because majority of us don't, and we're gonna go to the line after this. Majority of us don't want to work through anything, right? We don't want to work through anything. So as soon as it gets rough, then it's like blah blah blah, I'm out. Or you think there's a better version somewhere. Just because you saw something on Instagram, don't go chasing that. Don't go DMing that because you think the grass. Isn't that adage? The grass is greener on the other side.
Right.
No, it's
Still
not.
need to mow it.
No, it's not. You just need to take care of manicure your own lawn. Thank you so much for your patience. Good morning to you.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
The way history is taught has been the essential part of domination. There has always been the deliberate attempt to get the oppressed to believe that they have never done anything, which motivates us to not do anything. And so the information that has been fed to us as a people has stricken the morals, the moral values, the I can do value. A lot of us don't know that it was Africa that taught the world religion, science, math, medicine, and the list goes on. So if you know not who you are, then you cannot become who you're supposed to be in order to accomplish the love and the peace. So I say slavery, the crime against humanity, has caused the woman to take on this protective mode. And this is why I think she overburies her son, because she feels like she has to be that protector from the past, what she saw them do to the males. But if you know yourself and you ignite the God and the goddesses that's already in you, it's built in thee, and knowing this, you can be successful in navigating.
Sure.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you so much. We love you.
Powerful.
You know what? So think about it. So is that subconscious? Because a lot of women who have those types of relationships with their children, specifically their sons, I mean, I can think of some. They don't relate to the history of slavery for us, the oppressive nature for slavery. They don't know about breaking the buck. They don't know about those things. That wasn't part of what their experience is. Is it so much so that you never grew up in a household with a man? So you don't know. I tell my mother all the time, I didn't grow up with them in the household. So when it comes to relationships, I was really like very underdeveloped, if that's the word. Like I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know, like I remember first little boy that I was 17 and we got into a disagreement and I was like, okay. And I'm thinking that's it. He was like, what's the matter with you? And I was like, well, we got into a disagreement. He's like, Collette, just because you get into a disagreement doesn't mean that you just walk away.
Right.
You talk through it. But I had never had an example. I never had a man in the house. So I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what any of that looked like. So I just wonder, just specifically with women and their sons, if we never had a man around, is that how that energy comes? And you can think about men whose mothers now still take care. They still take care of their mothers. And a lot of the wives might have a problem with it because the men are so close to their mothers. And they say, oh, the mother treats them like that's her husband. Well, they do. Because maybe they didn't even have a husband.
But you got to remember the whole nurturer thing turns into protector when there's no one else to protect. When all I have is me, I can't rely on anybody else to do what needs to get done. So I have to teach you how to be, a woman raising a man teaches that boy everything she knows. Okay. Now, everything that she knows does not mix with everything that's in that boy. Right. How do you deal with testosterone? And when you start to smell yourself, when you're 13 and you're towering over your mother's going to do my mother did everything she could do to keep us in, I mean, I don't know how many black people didn't get hit with the big wooden spoon.
Right,
But
right.
that
With the spoon.
they get whatever they can because they're one protecting themselves.
Yeah.
They're teaching you how to, teaching you a pecking order of where you. But all that's missing when, you start when the man is gone, because, daddy's job is to provide, protect, and pamper. When those three things are missing, mommy has to do it all.
Yeah.
Then it just. There's a missing link. You go through life with a limp.
Yeah.
Everything is not balanced.
With a limp.
You
Nice. That's a great. Stay there. I need you to say that again. You go through life.
You go through life with a limp. Because something is missing. You limp because something. The balance is not there on both legs, right? So that balance is off, and that relationship creates that balance.
Yes.
But when the parents don't have a strong relationship or don't know how to develop a strong relationship, something's missing.
Yeah. And you go through life with a limp.
Yeah.
That is it. Like, that was really good. Like, you should write it. That should be the title of a book. I mean, because it's so.
Got to.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Got to.
And when you think about all of your experiences, so true. So true. And we have a consciousness that we're having this conversation, but so many people aren't even enlightened to what they didn't have. In order to try to say, this is how I need to address it.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. And so if a man isn't in a household, what does that look like? So as adults, you're so focused on, and I would just implore everyone out there, especially if you have children, whatever the dynamic is with the spouse, and I'm not just putting the ownership on the dad, and women as well. I mean, I'm a woman. But you got to do better. We have to do better for the children. Like whatever, all this stuff, I mean, to your point of being truthful, Rock, about the experiences that your children could have heard or seen. I had those, I remember, throughout the 10 years of my dad was trying to get my mother back and would come and, address these men. And we would be in the car. He's like, I'm going to bring the children so that they can see what's going on. We were like, now I'm looking back, I'm like, what were we doing in the car? Like, those are things that you said. But adults get so caught up in their stuff. That they don't realize the impact of the children.
Now, to your point, and also to your bigger point of, going through life with the limp.
Yeah.
All of us obtain a limp in various ways. Right. So you can have a father in the house, and there are things that are dysfunctional, and you can not have a father that's in the house and things are dysfunctional. You can be raised by step parents. You can be raised by grandparents. You can. It's a number of factors that can give you that limp. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, to your point of what do we do to address these things? Yeah. So I know for me personally in my life, which we just said that. I know for me, I've always said the proverbial limp. I came out with it. I had no choice. It was just part of my upbringing. I didn't have my biological mom. I didn't have my biological dad. I had a step grandmother and I had my biological grandfather. That's just right. I was born into a limp. Right. And it was nobody was trying to really fix the limp. It was just keep him going and he got the limp. Right. And I realized as I went on, I was the first to say it about myself. Everybody that I probably encountered, and this just isn't, I'm not trying to give a woe is me, but I'm painting a picture of what we're really dealing with. Yeah. What we're dealing with is people like me that was in their teens, 20s, 30s, that didn't know how to function, didn't know how to operate, got into relationships, but really didn't know. As I got older, when I got married, then I realized it's so much bigger than me. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to do my best to heal the limp. So if I have a wife, I'm having children, regardless of whatever I go through, the bigger picture is to keep the union together. Yes. I know people I can do all bad all by myself. Well, like movies like that was just so horrible. Right. And I'm not trying to call, but we gotta be honest. Like as you said with the social media, how things aren't real. They're full of filters and full of perfect pictures and all this kind of liposuction from Mexico and all this kind of stuff. Right. Like posing by somebody else's car that ain't yours. All that fake stuff. We gotta stop with that. And that's the same with our life coming up. Let's stop acting as if we didn't have issues. Go through the pain of keeping a union together.
Yes.
Because not only is it going to be good for you, it's going to be, because I'm a prime example, you're a prime example, you're an example of it. My children are in a better place because I didn't let my pride or I didn't let my feelings get hurt by my wife and just said, I'm out of here.
Right.
My children are so much in a better place. Watch this. Not just only my children, my wife's in a better place. I know it.
And you're in a better place.
I'm in a better, right.
Yes.
So holistically, watch
Yes.
this. I'm going to take it a step further. Black people are in a better place.
Yes.
So black children who see me and my family, I know I'm not boasting. I'm just calling it a fact. You've seen it. You've seen the look. Let kids come over your house who don't have the dynamic that you have in your house. They looking at your children like y'all got it together.
Yes.
See, because we need that example.
Yes.
We got to see. Yeah, everything isn't peachy keen in my house every day. Sometimes I want to, you know what I'm saying? My kids, they working my last nerve. I get it. My wife is getting on my last. I'm working their nerves.
Right.
But you know what? We're together.
Say it.
And all this stuff of, you know what? Life's too short to be not happy.
Yeah,
and
stop that.
Look.
Right.
Only two people. Babies need to be happy and puppies. Them the only
Happiness
two.
is temporary.
Come on, man. Baby's happy no matter what happened. A puppy will always wag his tail just because I'm just happy. You're a grown up.
Grow up.
You have moments of unhappiness.
Yeah.
I'd rather have joy of seeing my kids
There you
every
go.
day
Preach.
and seeing my wife every day and knowing that we healthy, we fed, we got a roof over our head, and we're striving to be the best. See, y'all got me
Come
started.
on. That's
Now,
what
come
it's
on, wait, I mean, that's listen,
it.
I tell kids all the time, happiness, not kids, but I tell students, basically anybody I talk to, happiness is temporary. I'm happy right now because I'm on the radio.
That's
on
it.
TV.
15 minutes,
Right.
Where's the joy?
Yeah.
Because, as a teacher, as an educator, I go in and I deal with some knuckleheads. And I'm not happy I'm not happy to have to talk to you like this.
Right.
But I find joy in the process of being here in this building with you, because joy is what gets you out the bed. Happiness is a good feeling. You can sleep well, but joy is what gets you up to, go do the next thing.
Yeah. You know what? And I catch myself and we have to be encouraging to those that we see in those spaces. Like if I'm out somewhere and I'll see, especially a younger family, and they'll have their children, the little children, and I just get joy. You said, I'm like, wow, like a family. And I'll tell them you have such a beautiful family. And I know it's not easy, but you need people to encourage you. Because right now they could not be feeling each other. The kids are getting on everybody's nerves. I'm tired, it's hot, or whatever the case may be. But you go, black folks with a family.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that makes me revert back to my childhood.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I fought so hard to show my parents what they didn't even understand that they were missing. Yeah. Like, I'm going to bring this to you.
Right.
And so a friend of mine said, well, maybe you pushed too hard. Maybe it's not what they really wanted. I said, it didn't make a difference what they wanted. It's what I wanted. Because as a child, it's not what you didn't give us an option to say, keep the family together.
Right.
You all said, okay, you're going to do what you're going to do. And it had an impact on us. So as an adult, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to bring this thing full home because I'm going to get a family. We're going to get this family back. So whether I'm 2 or I'm 42, we're going to have a family.
Now, to your situation, let me play a black PhD right now.
Please.
I don't have a PhD, but I did sleep in the Holiday Inn.
And we play one on TV. Right.
And here's the deal.
Yeah.
Black men, and I don't know who these brothers are that you was dating.
I was not dating them. I had a dating experience.
You had a dating experience.
Yeah,
okay.
this is how you shape things. Yes, there is a difference. There's a difference.
We saw each other and we ate something, food.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So my point is, like, say for instance, for my wife, I had to learn, and still practicing it. My wife is who she is.
Yeah.
And I gained more peace in my life saying, let her be who she is. Because I don't want her taken away from me, who I am. Yes. Okay? So with that being said, and guess what? I can, if you gave me a sheet of paper, a legal pad, I can fill it up back and forth, front, right? Of everything that she's done for me.
Amen.
And in the midst of being her. That could be getting on my nerves.
Sure.
But how she's still taking care of me.
Yeah.
I can fill it up.
Yeah.
These men, brothers, we got to see that in whoever it is that that they're trying to obtain. So if they're trying to obtain companionship, you know, as far as dating and you know, into being engaged, into marriage, look at what you got, man, because at this point, and what I mean by look at what you got is look at the positives. Look at what is really being brought far as value.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The intangibles is something else, boy. All those things, the surface stuff, brother, man, you can have a car right now. And if you're looking for somebody who, a car can break down, like, but if you got a woman with a strong will, that's not going to let you go hungry. That's not going to let you soak when you have a bad day. No. Man, give me that any day of the week. The intangibles. Man. If you work with that and stop, get out of la la land, stop. I understand we want a certain thing that complement us, but it is true that your goals or your ideas can just probably be too lofty. You can't even, as you said earlier, yeah. You can't even live up to
can you do
the lofty goals right. that you're setting.
Right.
So once again, the value, somebody of your ilk, your build, you know, far as mentally, spiritually, look, it comes with the package. That's what it is. If you want
facts.
Submissive, go to a third world country and go find somebody who hasn't been taught anything.
Hey.
But if
somebody say that they don't have to go to the third world, they get it right here, right in the D. They get it all day long, right in the D. They don't have to go nowhere.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. Hey. So all I'm saying to you is, you already know. I mean, look, a jewel.
Thank you, Rock.
You know, I ain't gotta live with you, but the point is,
and I'm real good with that.
Right,
I know how to be domestic.
Right,
I can do all that.
I want to make it clear though, because I don't want people thinking like, oh, well, you don't live with her, you ain't married to her, so how do you? Right. But the point is, I don't have to have lived with her or be around her all the time to be able to see just from a distance, like, that's a quality, that's a quality, that's a quality. And guess what? It's rare.
Hey, I appreciate it. You know what I think of? It goes back to what you said. We're products of our environment, one way or another. And I believe that the men that I have met here, no one believes that I am who I am. Like, you just can't be who you are. And I say, well, I didn't grow up the way that you grew up, right? I'm not saying that my environment was perfect, but I'm who you are. I'm not drama. I'm not chaos. I don't have time for it. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it. So maybe that's my problem. I always talk about arranged marriages. I was a total advocate of arranged marriages. I believe that a marriage is a business, and I need to have a plan. Now, if I end up liking you, that's cool. I grow to love you. Okay, that's great. But at the end of the day, if this is what we're committed to do it, let's do it. I'm going to do my part. You do your part. We'll get along great. Won't be a problem. Like, I mean, that's the way it should be. I'm not chaos. And if you want me to need you, then it needs to be more than because I want to get my nails done and my hair done. I mean, like, so I'm supposed to ask for that? I get that over. You don't ask. The guy was trying to think one time, you don't ask for anything. I don't understand. Well, guess what? If I'm going to ask for something, that's when I was at the height of my real estate stuff. I said, well, this is what I need you to do. I saw a property. I'm waiting for some money to clear. I need $2,000. I want to buy this property. And then I'll give it back to you in 10 days. I'll do 25 cents on the dollar. That's what I need you to do. What do you think would happen? Did you think I got to do? What do you think?
I mean, that's a completely different level of relationship because you're dealing with a different type of person.
Well, you asked me. You wanted me to ask, right?
Right. And there's a idea. It's like I don't like that whole needy thing. Why do you need? You're a grown woman. You're an able-bodied grown woman. Go get what you need, and we're going to bring our 100 and be 200%. We're going to take out 200% and turn into 1,000%.
Yes.
But with one by myself, I can't do all the things I want to do. But when I have a partner with me that's on point, we're gonna conquer the world.
Well, you would think, but they want the limp. They want people that stay with the limp.
That's something I can't. That's a
mental
block that I have.
Yes.
What do you mean? You want me to take care of you?
Yeah.
You're not a child. Now, if I'm taking care of you, that means I tell you what I need you to do when I need you to do it, and
Say
you're
it.
going to do it.
Say it.
But don't give me. Now, if you're out here making your own money, doing your own thing, we need to meet in the middle so we can go to the top.
Yes.
Because we not going to the top if I got to take it all to the left.
Yes.
We're not going to the top if you got to take it all to the right. We got to meet in the middle
Yes.
and go. So that whole take care of me and ask permission. Go get your nails done. Go. We have food. We got a roof. We got a car. You can drive your car to the nails, and I don't have to take you. Go do your thing. Come back. Be pretty. We gonna show you all. I mean, say what you want to say, but that whole asking.
Yeah, because it's
I wish my wife
control.
would come to me and ask, can I go get my nails done? My daughter asked me that question, but
Right.
she's 15 years old.
Yeah.
My wife, y'all go together.
Yeah.
Come on.
But
take care
but you
of it.
said it's a mindset. And maybe that is what society has perpetuated with control, money.
Fairy tales.
So right. So everything if I see on TV, so I pay to your point, Rock, I pay the cost to be the boss. Okay, well pay the cost. So if you want to pay the cost, I don't have a problem. Whatever, I used to date a guy really prominent in the city, and he didn't want me to work. He didn't want me to work. I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? Well, I created this whole concept called housewife life. So every day I would go, I'd make 3 meals a day, or again, I'd shop at the grocery store. I went and volunteered at the garden. I was right there whenever I was cute. Whenever he came from work or whatever, you want me to hang out with you, you paid the cost for that. I don't have a problem with that. I can meet you wherever you are. If this is what you want me to do, I still have my business to the side. I wasn't going to a job, and I accommodated you. That still wasn't enough. That joker got on my head talking about I had to go get a PPO on him. I'm like, are you serious right now? I don't understand what else you want. I don't understand. So maybe it goes back to the whole point that y'all don't know what y'all want. So then, so at the end of the day,
No, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't know
that's
what you
true.
want,
Yeah.
and then you get someone.
Because you want to be happy. You don't want to have joy. Because once I'm happy, now what?
Right, bingo. So then what? So we say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So here's the play. Call the play. You run it. You want to do this? Man, dating a guy. He didn't know. I was like, okay, you IT, right? What you doing? Where's your business at? Oh, okay. Well, guess what? I'm gonna create a business for you. And then you need to go get your master's. Okay, find a program, put you in your master's. There were days I was taking master cybersecurity classes. Get you your clients, get you your stuff, helping you raise your 2 kids.
Now
you was
telling me what to
divorced.
do.
No, but you said these are your dreams. You told me those were your dreams. So those are your
Accountability
dreams.
is a big thing.
And I'm gonna help you make it. I'm gonna help you get there.
But
And
you telling me you come on, slow. Let me figure out what.
he couldn't. But
That's
you say,
why.
but you say you want to be this power couple. So okay, if that's what you want me to help you do, see, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's just the man in me, quote unquote. So you
No,
know,
it's not being clear on what you want.
meaning him or me.
Him
Oh, no,
in this situation, it's him.
He
but
wanted a
people in
business.
general.
He wanted a business. He didn't know, like you said earlier, he didn't know how. So if I know how, I'm gonna set it up for you. That's what I'm saying. If you're the head of this group, like, right, and you say this is what you're trying to do, and you don't know how to get there, no problem. I have the wherewithal. I'm gonna show you how to get there. So we gonna get there. And now you walk around and you flossing and you looking good and you ordering some $1,000 shoes from London and you living your best life until we're getting ready to get married and your girlfriend calls me. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, hello.
Because I want to be happy.
She was like, well, you just seem like such a nice person, and I didn't think it was right, and so I just wanted you to know.
That's what happiness looks like.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
bingo,
joy.
bingo,
It's happiness.
bingo. And so I asked him, I was like, well, okay, what's really good? Because I don't have a problem. I mean, man, that's life. Stop. So you just tell me, he's like, he finally admitted 6 months later, I never thought I was good enough for you. Well, there you go. And hey, great morning to you, because I know you're listening and way over in Atlanta. Hi, GA. Hey, great morning to you. Yeah. So I'm just saying at the end of the day.
Set personal, professional, and educational goals.
Okay.
For yourself.
For yourself.
Then you learn how to create opportunities to serve others.
Uh-huh.
That's how it starts with you. So you have to understand what makes you happy,
Yes.
where your joy comes from, what work you have to do, because work doesn't stop, and that's part of the problem. We're afraid of work. Relationships are work.
Yeah.
Growing a business is work.
Yeah.
Making millions is work. I mean, the richest man in the world gets up and goes to work every day.
Right.
He's not on the
and
beach
work is
chilling.
work. Whether it's your business you working for, if it's your business, you're working harder.
Right.
I mean,
Great point.
Jeff Bezos is not on the beach. We got this beautiful beach motif
Right,
right here.
right. Right.
He may be,
Right.
but you better believe he's talking to somebody running something, and everybody wants to chill.
Yeah.
Netflix and chill, or this back and chill, or
Right.
let me burn one and chill.
Yeah.
Get up and work and put the work in, and the joy of work is a beautiful thing.
Okay. You know what? How many? 10? We got what? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? A couple minutes? I wanted you to give your final thoughts. Our time is up.
Yeah.
It runs so quickly, doesn't it?
Well, let me get this final thought.
Sure.
A word of encouragement. My daughter, I was having a conversation with them the other day, just African American empowerment.
Yeah.
And she was like, Dad, like, how do we go about this? How do we go about getting better?
Nice.
And I was like, you haven't been listening to me? Like, I've been giving the keys. Like, And she was like, no, Dad, like, how? And she was like, well, I said, well, I'm talking to you for one. And she was like, well, everybody don't hear your voice. This is what she said to me. So what I'm saying to us is that this conversation that we're having, every key point and every transparent issue that you brought to the table, these things got to continue to happen.
Yeah, we do.
And the more active step is, and you brought it to my attention the other day, as far as we start galvanizing the people, because once again, there's a lot of people who got platforms and they got, a congregation, if you will, but they're not getting it the way you said it.
Sure.
So there's so much value in what we're saying that we got to continue to press harder and make it happen.
All right. D, final words?
Final words, I just want to thank Collette and Rock for the coffee. I don't know if it's a sponsor or not, so I appreciate the coffee and conversation. It's been great. I look forward to doing it again.
Everyone, our time's up. But make sure you follow at Speak Rock on
Speak
IG.
Rock at gmail.com. Speak Rock on IG and Facebook.
Okay, D, how can they follow you?
Damian L. Butler on all platforms.
On all platforms. Everyone, our time's up. Callers, I see. I'm so sorry we're not able to bring you in. We'll have more conversations like these. I pray that your time has been valuable, if you have deemed it so, that you've been educated, enlightened, and empowered. Make your moments matter. Make today amazing. Look forward to seeing you bright and early next Wednesday for Cannabis, discussing the business of cannabis right here on TV 33 and Comcast 90. See you then.